When I look back at my life, I see defeat, pain, perseverance, even optimism, but most importantly, I see progression. As I ponder how I got to this point, I see that skateboarding has been by my side for almost 20 years. The places I've been, the people I've met, and all the knowledge I've gained along the way have all been from skateboarding. As a young child, I never had the chance to play any team sports. When I discovered skateboarding at the age of 6, I was overwhelmed by the possibilities. It might have been the allure of danger, or the prospect of adventure, although the freedom and open possibilities is what started me down the path of self-discovery. I grew to love the nature of the sport. There was no competition, no set defined goal. The main purpose I had was self-expression. The journey I was on taught me so many invaluable skills, from architecture to construction and even computer literacy. Along my path, I started to notice how different I was becoming from the other kids. While most of the guys bonded over the school teams they were a part of, I was focused on my own path. I never had a strong connection to anyone during that time and noticed myself drifting further away from conventional norms. Skating at that point conditioned my mind and body to think outside the box. I was fine with being an outsider inside a school environment because I knew at the end of the day, when the bell rang, I could go to the skate park and be myself. As I grew into my teen years, my roots in skate culture were planted firmly. My skills of media arts and painting were blossoming. I no longer cared about cultural norms or even what was happening at school in terms of social acceptance. I had made my world outside of high school, and I was very happy with that. I had met people like myself, and we bonded over our unconventionality. Self-evaluation was the strongest skill I had gained along my path at this point. So when I came to the realization that I was gay, it was a very hard thing to come to terms with. At first, I didn't want to accept it myself. I already knew I was different from social norms when it came to my life, so it shouldn't have been a shock to me when I realized I was attracted to men and not women. Still, in my brain was an instant fear of rejection. The amount of effort and time I spent building my small world was one I had to keep. Stereotypically, I used the attributes of the culture as a shield from the outside world. I fell deeper and deeper in the closet, and it set my life on a path for the worse. Hearing friends and foes constantly using the term queer, gay, and faggot in a negative light cemented the fact that being gay was a bad thing. At this point, I grew quite comfortable at the unhealthy balance of life I had made. I still had skateboarding for me, and that was enough to keep me going. Again, I knew once the day was over, I could run to my quiet place on the edge of town and forget everything, the good and bad. When I entered into my years as a young adult, the double life I was leading got harder and harder to manage. The early confidence skateboarding had given me at this point had diminished. The culture I once loved and made me was changing into everything I hated. I knew I had to make a change at this point. Coming out of the closet wasn't easy for me, and from the initial moment, it took years after to reach a point of comfort and pride. I now started to look at the culture with renewed confidence and started to question why there wasn't any openly gay people in skateboarding. The tide is changing in the direction of progression, but still, the large corporations driving the sport are afraid of touching the issue. Tony Hawk's company Birdhouse Skateboards have pulled interviews of one of the riders talking openly about their sexuality. Pioneers of the sport, such as Jay Adam, have aided in the beating and subsequent death of a gay man without any negative effects to their career. The terms like queer, gay, and faggot can still be used by professional skateboarders without any consequence. Nike recently dropped its contract with UFC's Manny Pacquiao over homophobic comments, but with a skate team of over 32 professional riders and over 50 amateur riders, some of which are on film making similar remarks, why have we yet to see one of them face similar consequences? I have to ask myself, with skateboarding going into the next Summer Olympics, is the culture really ready to embrace the 21st century? The sport has come such a long way, from being a surfing pastime to a feature on Fox Sports, selling out major arenas. Skateboarding is wholly democratic. We have spent so much of our time and energy into a toy that has given us so much. Now is the time for us to use our power to change our culture. Skateboarding is going into a direction towards the negative attributes of traditional sports for the better and worse. It is up to us to drive it in the right direction. Us as gay skaters and our straight allies need to be more vocal and stand up in the face of adversity. Change comes to those who fight for it, not just for ourselves, but for the next generation of kids that are looking to be a part of a new culture that accepts diversity and unconventionality. The conversation is there, but we can't stop at just talking about it. We need to start putting it into action.